looking at a few posts around on Twitter that was basically talking about how, Lolicons get attacked by, antis in some shape or form and whatever the way is possible. And then also at the very same time, they don't like how Lolicons have this I'm a bigger person type of mentality or whatever when it comes down to it. And I think I want to yap about that for a second, right? Because let's just keep very much a say. If you are a Lolicon, 9 times out of 10, you pretty much have been attacked for some reason, You've been attacked for whatever reason, and, it's always probably nothing of your own fault. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know everybody. But the point is, there's a lot of chances where somebody's got attacked because they just like it in the open, and then people got blasted for it for literally no reason, right? Now, back in the day, there was a whole, mentality of, oh, you attack me? That's fine. I'm just gonna spam a whole bunch of lolly content at you just because I can. And that's how it is. And for a minute, I ain't gonna lie, in the earlier times too, I was like, yeah, I'm for that as well, right? Because it's like, why the hell not? You're gonna sit here and just straight up dox a person and be on some doxing ass nonsense because you can't dock your boat properly. So you know what? We're just gonna hit you with all the cunning in the world. Why not? And I get that mentality. Hell, to this day, there is times where I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing that come back in some shape and form. That being said, the only reason why I'm like, I get why it's not happening anymore, or at least why that happens now, is because of defense. What do I mean by that? It's essentially like, alright, so let's say somebody gets attacked for whatever reason and they just exist. They're just there. They're not really doing anything against you outside of enjoying the stuff they enjoy or doing what they do. And they just get attacked for no reason. 9 times out of 10, or at least as history has shown us literally in very important ways, that if you attack a certain group of people for whatever reason and they literally do nothing to you, and it has been shown time and time again that the problems are literally in the attacker's group more than it is the actual people in that one thing that they don't like, 9 times out of 10, more public opinion will be on your back and for you to push for, that person that getting attacked than the person that's doing the attacking. Even if you are someone that maybe don't like lolly whatsoever, and you see somebody just straight up doxing a person, there might be a line for you to be like, alright, now hold up now. That's a little too much. That's a little far. I can't necessarily support that. I might not like this thing, but I don't like your actions even more. Right? And that's essentially how it is, that you essentially, as the attacker, sold the damn bag. You sold the damn bag because you just cooked yourself online for everybody to see in your public outcry of it in whatever way. That's how Lolicon's been attacked for years now, right? Especially with this new age of new anime fans being absolute dipshits and not knowing what the hell they doing, right? Watering down the P-file word and just not necessarily making it as important. And now, realistically, people have to go out their way to be like, oh yeah, this person is a straight up P-file. And then now people gotta question themselves, be like, do you mean in anime or do you mean in real life? Because that's just how the word has been thrown around so much now, right? But the point is, though, even with all that stuff of being, attacked and whatever, you can very much lose your stance and your basis. Like, do I need to remind anybody what happened with Earth updates? Like, do I need to remind people of all that nonsense? The Eric Cartman sounding guy, where and then just throw out like N-words, and we all know the man is white as hell. Like, or do we not remember that? Hell, there was like a whole post apparently about somebody on Steam running like some kind of a weird ass Predator ring or whatever, and it's like, dude. So again, every single time people want to go out their way to be like, yeah, Lolicons are the worst people on the planet, they don't deserve to breathe air and all that sort of stuff. It's like time after time again, you have people to come through, attack the Lolicon community, and then ultimately they get shit on. They get shit on because they can't do the right things themselves, right? Very rarely have I seen an anti come through, still be on whack timing at times, but at least seen them come through and actually not engage with obviously shit that you ain't supposed to engage with. Like, very rarely do I see that, because it feels like 90% of aunties are in some weird shit that they shouldn't necessarily be in, and then yet for whatever reason they are in that, and then they want to call somebody else out for being weird when they're equally just as weird, if not way more weirder, in doing illegal shit as well. Like, that's just ultimately how it is. So on that note, it's kind of like, bro, why the hell would a Lolicon want to, fight back in some shape and form? Especially if some of these aunties get exposed to the light and for the first time leave their mother's basement and actually see, oh shit, I have some dirt on me. Because that's essentially what this ends up becoming, right? That's what this ends up being. Like, there's a whole nother post, I hope I bookmarked it, but there's like a whole nother post where somebody was like, oh, how you gonna tell me Lolicons are pedophiles when they post stuff like this? And it's just like this little joke or whatever, right? It's which honestly, it's kind of funny. But when it comes down to it though, it's just like, bro, they just want the early access of fictional goods. Somebody that be very much hard pressed against it, they be trying to look for the actual early access, and yeah, let's not go into that territory. And that's also like a reason why I can't take many of the big creators that do hate Lolicon, or at least they say they hate it, and then ultimately just be like, taking them seriously. I just can't take them seriously at all, right? Because whether it's literally like Nux or Techman, or I think Vash at one point, literally there's like so many people that be into other weird things or just enjoy or do weird shit as well, and ultimately for them to flip-flop and be like, no, we don't like that shit over there, get your country ass over there, and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, is this not equal to the weird shit? like it's a bit weird, or is this not even more weirder than anything else? Because there is dirt underneath the nails of some of these people if we're gonna be absolutely just on that type of timing, it's not genuinely surprising. Again, every single time somebody goes after a Lolicon in some shape and form, somebody comes through and they have like basically proven the Lolicon's point that, yes, this side of anime can be weird, but at least it's not on some illegal shit or some weird type of timing like it is for this X individual that's trying to do some doxing or harassment campaigns or whatever the hell else, right? There is too many times where that shit has happened, and literally the stance on that side of things gets weaker because you have individuals that are super overly hard extreme on that one side though, right? And that's just what it is. I think the funniest people on the planet are literally the people that be like, oh, I don't really care for Lolicon content, I'm gonna hate on it. But then as soon as you see their catalog of characters that they actually enjoy, they're like, see somebody that's actually considered a lolly, and then ultimately they start flip-flopping and start doing the Mr. Crab meme, just being like, that's just how it is. And it's just like, come on, dude. Like, half of the people, I promise you, half of the people I feel like that do be hating is definitely Lolicons in disguise. They just choose not to. One, because they don't want to be seen weird or anything like that. Or two, they don't want to just get swapped up on their like friends or whatever because, oh, they do enjoy it in some shape or form, or they just enjoy it in private or whatever like that, right? Because I ain't gonna lie, if you are someone that is a Lolicon that is that, and you go through things like that, or you feel like you need to hide, do not hide. It's okay, bro. It is fine. It is so fine, right? As long as you're not in a place where it's illegal, it is fine, bro. It is okay. It is a part of anime since the beginning of time. Literally, the first cracked cheek, the first character, the waifu that has ever been cracked in a hentai has been a damn lolly. So if you want to be real, it is what it is, right? It's just been a part of the genre since the beginning of time, since you've been breathing air, dude. Because I ain't gonna lie, sweating over the fact that you have a lolly character that you really like, or at least a character that would be considered lolly that you really do like, ultimately for you to be trying to flip-flop and switch like it didn't happen, that's the worst damn thing you could do. Especially if you like, let's say if someone like, Midna or someone like Tatsumaki, and then you ultimately be like, oh, they're a short stack. That is the worst thing you could do, because at that point you're cooked, and it's just GG's. We ain't gonna say it for you, but many other people will definitely say that for ourselves, much less, deep down, you probably already know, damn, she's flat as hell, and she's short, and she's basically getting treated like a kid in the show. Yeah, that's a lolly. I'm cooked. That's GG's, right? Just accept it. Sometimes you just need to accept the GG's and call it a damn day. It is okay, bro. Sometimes it is just okay, bro. And that's kind of the thing about the lolly community that me personally I do like the most, is that because a lot of people are definitely shameless, because a lot of people don't really have, you know, any sort of worry about what other people think. We can kind of just enjoy what we have here, and it's not necessarily the worst time on the planet. That's why I've been so, you know, fine with the way the community has been, right? That's why it's been such a nice time chilling with other people, because it's not necessarily anything ultra weird, right? Sure, you will get people that will, you know, be very heavy towards it and kind of can be a little overbearing with it, but still, a lot of people ain't like that. There's a lot of people that's actually pretty alright with it.
Joke's on you, I'm into that shit!
It's just the fact that, you know, once again, and I said this for the title of a literal video, which is like, I'm glad the Lolicon community is niche still, right? And hopefully it'll forever be niche, because it is one of those places or spaces, I would say, that feel like it hasn't changed. It feel like it hasn't changed that much, you know, where everybody in the anime community overall feels like it has changed. Everybody's a toxic asshole for no reason, or they only watch the most popular stuff or whatever, or accept the most mediocre stories as the best story ever, where, you know, you get judged for liking a certain character or for a certain thing or fan service or whatever.
Remember, it's impossible to accuse someone of being judgmental without being judgmental. Until we meet again!
Where the Lolicon community is just like, oh, we like all that shit. We're fine with basically everything, and we know what we're talking about half the damn time. I'm not saying that the Lolicon community is perfect, obviously. I'm not saying that whatsoever. There is definitely some shades of gray, some shades of darkness. Darkness within darkness awaits you, Riku. Type of energy that is within that space. Definitely you will see nonsense ahoy, and it's not necessarily great. You actually do get to see, unfortunately, some actual predators be in this damn community and try to lurk around, act like they're Lolicons, quote unquote, but they're really not, and they're actually just there trying to find real life content, which is unacceptable, which is, again, one of the few things I do like about, you know, people at times, is that they will go out their way to find those people and then absolutely try to, you know, report them or get them, you know, sent to the authorities in the right way, which is great, honestly. But at the very same time, there is darkness that definitely, you know, lurks within the community that definitely is a problem. But in overall contrast of the entirety of the community, not everybody is definitely for that. If not, the majority of people is not necessarily for that, or is trying to find some ulterior motives when it comes down to it, you know? And that's just how it is. And ultimately, hell, I've even ran into people that literally don't mind lolly at all, but would like to, and sometimes people just like to DM me and be like, hey, so I'm a little afraid to post this shit in public, you know, but kinda got a fat ass, don't she? And I'm like, yeah, she does, but that's kind of the sad part though. It's just like, people just want to explore this shit, or at least want to enjoy it in the way they want to, and ultimately they just can't. Like, how many times have I said Pan has a fat ass? How many times have I said, you know, Eerie is big booty Eerie, or Anya has cake, or whatever? And essentially, I'm like, I'm having a good time, but then most people just can't do that because they're just afraid of, obviously, the antis and whatever, and it sucks. In fact, if we're gonna be real, the next video, or at least one of the next videos that you should be able to see of note, is going to be a collab with a lolly VTuber. In fact, all my collabs with, literally outside of one, has been with nothing but lolly VTubers. Not because, you know, that's just been what I've been trying to find or focus on. It's just literally the fact that they are just chill like that. Plus, I'm not gonna lie, it feels like you can have an easier time to talk to those people than, you know, people that aren't that, or at least they don't feel like they have a giant stick of your ass, or you gotta prove yourself 5,000 times, because, you know, they're just kind of there, and they're chill people. Also, yes, that is definitely rain that you're hearing outside. Rain that is just being mad annoying, so I'll try to wrap this up as quickly as I can. But overall, I would probably just say that the lolly community is probably like the best one to chill with. Again, because they're not really trying to do anything crazy outside of what they enjoy. And that's really about it. And the fact that people come through and try to always constantly be on time and try to fight and attack all the ways, and literally Lolicons just want to be left the hell alone. It's wild. And then again, like I said before in the beginning, that's the reason why some of those people really don't fight, because they just know, yeah, if we do that, we're no different than the other people that's trying to attack the hell out of us, and that's just how it is. Even though some Lolicons definitely just want to go ahead and just do the same thing, and I don't blame them for that. But at the very same time, the best way, you know, it's kind of what currently been working, at least in my personal opinion, of how we should handle this sort of stuff. Oh my gosh, it's rain. But anyway, that's, I guess, what I really wanted to say for this one. So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on your way out. Also follow me on socials, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, Kofi and Cash App is available as well. And until then, it's your boy Jay, signing off. Have a blessed day. Yes, I hear you, rain. Stop raining!